It's time to take a stand, bringing the truth to a fucked up land. We've had enough of the lies and deceit. We're done for good with the toxicity. Oh, hell, thanks. We are the Rabyd Nation. Oh, hell, thanks. We are the Rabyd Nation. Oh, hell, thanks. We are the Rabyd Nation. We are the Rabyd Nation.
All right, and a hearty welcome to all of you in the Rabyd Nation, whether you're just passing by, you're a tourist, you're someone looking over the border, deciding whether or not you want to become an immigrant. Welcome one and all, and welcome to the Rabyd Atheist Fireside Chat Evening. I'm your host, Ed Raby, a former pastor turned atheist, now a compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Thanks one and all for showing up. This will probably be the last live stream of the year. So I kind of wanted to just do a fireside chat and talk and relax a little bit and watch the year that was 2025 sail into the sunset. And we can all decide whether or not we're happy about that or not. I, for one, am kind of anxious to see it go. I've had a long string of years that haven't been actually all that great. So, and this is just kind of another one. It's been good in some ways and bad in others. So, but thanks everybody for stopping by. There's a goal in the chat. This will be the second to the last time that all the holiday hats will show up in the goal. So if you want to see the Rabyd Atheist wear one of those holiday hats, this is the time, or on January 1st, Thursday, our first broadcast of the new year. You can have that opportunity as well. After that, they're going to go into a box somewhere and wait till next year. So, so there you go. All right, let's get a quick roll call. Rimmer was here early. Let's see, Ron is here. Yeah, let's get fluffled. It's cold. Yeah, the temperature here is going to drop considerably, and we've had snow winter advisory all day long. I've been sleeping through all of it, so there you go. Ran, we'll talk about your YouTube videos in a minute, man. And then Martin and Michael, and let's see, Paul is here. Hey, Earl, the lap in which our Lord naps has arrived. Always good when she arrives. Evan is here. The cranky elder gods have sent their representative. So there we go. You expected more of the 21st century now that the first quarter. Yeah, I mean, where the hell are the flying cars? So there's that. Hey, Skeptic, good to see you. Let's see. Where's my good friend Bren? Yeah, giving up on making you. People seem to care about everything else other than what I know. Even when I do proper fact checks and everything, people still act in certain ways. It's going nowhere. I'm going to tell you my frustration with doing videos from an atheist perspective is very similar to yours. I just keep going because, like, when I was first doing this channel, they always would comment on lighting and, you know, I'd like to listen to you, but this is bad, or I'd like to listen to you that this is bad. You seem to know your stuff, but this is bad. I don't know. I think people sometimes miss the point of YouTube. It's a lot of people can have really good production values. They can have all this other stuff. Sound is perfect and all that, and they think that's that. But then I find their videos pretty superficial as far as content. And so I guess it boils down to what people want. And that's kind of my thought process right now, is because I'm definitely going to be making some changes as the new year progresses in what I do. I'm certainly not giving up on it. but I've gotten to a point of frustration with myself more than anything else, and so that's probably where it's not similar to your situation. But um, doing good informational quality videos, you're going to get people commenting on everything else. Okay, because they don't have anything to say. You should be thankful that they don't say anything about your fact checking and all that stuff, because it means that you're doing a good job on it. So there's something positive to take away from your comment here. But I've watched your videos, and you are very, very informative, and you're very dealing with the facts kind of person. So if that's the kind of video somebody's into, but I wouldn't let the comments get to me that much. It's the one thing I've learned. There's a lot of good wisdom, and sometimes just turning off the comment section in your brain, at least. I never turn off the comment section in actuality. I have too much courage for that. Like, I always get fascinated by videos I go back to, and there used to be a comment section and now there's not. And you have to wonder why that is, because they were getting a lot of comments that made sense and they didn't want to deal with it. So, or there's problems. So, yeah, politics is also a very saturated market too. It is the one thing that almost everybody talks about. We have atheist content creators. That's their jam. Like, that's where they live. They live in the politics and stuff. I mean, like, from the, the thinking atheist to the friendly atheist to uh, some of the ones I don't like as much, like the Line and a few others. It's um, politics. Ever since a certain orange-haired guy got elected, or orange-skinned, maybe. Hard to tell sometimes with the lighting. Um, got elected, everybody's talking politics. And I think people have forgotten that politics isn't everything. Like, there's a daily life that people live. I can tell you, as somebody with a political science degree, your local politics probably affects you more than the national one does, and nobody ever pays attention to it. I know. I used to be on a school board. They wouldn't pay attention to the school board until somebody was about to lose a job, or something sacred to the community was about to be removed. Like, those are the times all of a sudden the school board's decisions made a difference in their life. And until it became obvious, most people don't pay attention to local politics. And it's funny because it affects you the most. Like, who your local law enforcement, if you have elected law enforcement officials, how they're going to enforce the law is pretty much up to them. And you should probably pay attention to that. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you get it. I get it. So there you go. Podcast, I publish on YouTube as well. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're going to, like, whatever opposition you're going to get to. You can listen to that, or you can keep following what you want to do. But if it's not being effective, then you figure out some changes. Yeah, where are the flying saucers when you need them? I want an electronic thumb, Paul. Yeah, where the hoverboards at? Yeah, I know. Yeah, how dare you? Like, like when I first started out, let's see, um, I was in my apartment. I had this window. I had to turn my computer sideways because of getting so much glare behind me. But that was my lighting source, and I would record when the sun was up because it was perfect. And then I had like one light on the desk, and that was my lighting. And I was in a like white painted room, so that helped. But yeah, it was kind of glary. I was using the microphone on my laptop. It's like, and it's funny because they'll only have that reaction to people like that do videos like this, like the television style. But somebody will get on their flipping phone, and it's the worst quality phone video ever, and they won't make a reference like, hey, you need to work on getting a better quality phone. Yeah. And so in college, I would pick a side an issue and argue just to get a rise out of people. Today, people make a living taking a side and arguing. Yes, they do. You want a puppy? Well, okay. Yeah, I mean that's the point. Like everybody starts somewhere, Bren. The quality, the production value is my. Go look at my old videos from the first year of this channel. They're shit. Okay, from a quality production standpoint, they're shit. And I've slowly upgraded over time to get there. But right now, can I afford an upgrade in production? Oh hell no. Right now, no. No, I'm trying to get back above water at a certain point here. So for the holidays and stuff. Yeah, there you go. See, that's kind of what happens is you kind of upgrade stuff slowly but surely, and it's fine. Yeah, I mean the replicant and the replicant girls. Yeah, I'm disappointed that the timeline didn't go Cyberpunk 2077 that direction, but then we'd be in the middle of a bunch of corporate wars right now. So, so there's that. Cyberpsychosis is not a bug; it's a feature. Yeah. Hey, Philbert, good to see you. Oh man, his orange faced. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's piss yellow hair. Okay, there we go. But yeah, ever since he got elected, like everybody has forgotten. There's a lot of people that have forgotten like the atheist issues and the normalization of atheism. That's just why I stay where I'm at. Somebody's got to do it. Everybody else has kind of abandoned it. Having good conversations to like point out to people that atheists do have morality and we have good reasons to have our morality, things like that. Yeah. A chunk of people. Look, it's Kratos from God's. Well, that's the thing. Like how thought provoking is presented changes over time. Like how to be entertaining, informative, and thought provoking at the same time. That's a tough one, Blossom. Like I I've said it before. I have three major goals with this channel: to make money, to be thought provoking, but also to be entertaining. And to be entertaining and thought provoking at the same time requires change. But dark matter has changed a little bit, but the shtick is kind of the same. And so longtime fans are probably just they're expressing it in a different way maybe, or some people just like, oh, we're not going to listen to that. We're just going to make fun of it. And I think theists have gone into the realm of just making fun of atheist content creators. So you might be getting some of that too. But yeah, like dark matter does very thought provoking stuff in a very entertaining style. But I guess I can see how some people are either A, getting bored with it, or B, figuring out ways to troll it without actually listening to what he has to say. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, I don't know. I have a poli sci degree and I don't talk about politics that much. And there's probably a reason for that. Okay. Because it's hard to have a political discussion without a lot of heat and not a lot of light. Like it's very difficult to talk to. Like the closest thing I've seen to like a calm political discussion, and this is saying something, is Earl and Asho when they did their one stream and talked about it. Like they were polite. They because they're friends, they had a difference of opinion, but it didn't stop them from being friends. And I don't know if too many people have that capability anymore. Like it's gotten to me where like social media is kind of like, you got to take a side. You got to be this way. Oh, you can't be just like somebody presents a new issue to you. And you can't be like, well, let me think on that. Oh no, there's a right answer already. I know what the right answer is, and you better have that right answer. I'm not going to be your friend anymore. And it's like, you're not giving me a chance to process it and think about it is problematic to me. Okay. So I think when you do thought provoking videos or you take a different side, right now it's all about having sides and being which tribe are you a part of. And if you want to say, you know what, I'm not really sure the tribal mentality is helpful at this point, then people get on you for that too. So put some tape or dampers on the mic, boom, springs. Yes, exactly. Yeah, like I don't know if people, I have a boom mic, but most people can't see it because it's as black as my shirt. So only when my necklace goes behind it that people notice that it's even there. So can get millions of donors while atheist content creators have about $3 between them. They donate to each other on Patreon. Yeah, there is, I get what he's saying. It's probably not that he's probably being a little hyperbolic, but he is correct. Like people, you know, that are mainstream theist content, conservative, Republican type content creators, yeah, they have like billionaire donors that donate to their program, which is why a lot of them are still on the air, because if they had to rely on ad revenue or people liking them, they would be off a long time ago. The current Republican civil war is kind of costing some of those content creators their viewerships. So depending on who they are, but they're also well funded. They keep going. Now, atheist content creators, yeah, we have to kind of rely on things like ad revenue and donations from fans, and like it's not the same game. Okay, I'm not having some guy down the street that runs a business come up to me and say, hey, here's a $25,000 check, keep doing what you're doing and do more of it, and I'm like, oh, you keep doing that once a year and I can quit my job. But it's like we don't have that. I think Rationality Rules a year ago bemoaned this. He says this is still the problem. The problem is atheist content creators have to rely on whatever they can make themselves, and you got others that are theists that just it's the religious industrial complex. I think it wasn't a damn show that kind of popularized that idea. I don't know if he came up with it, but it's a good way of putting it. They have this religious giving donation machine that's inherently built into the thing. So even if they didn't have these millionaire donors, you'd have these churches that are just getting money left and right, and they can put it into production. So it becomes it's a machine. So yeah. Local politics actually affects you far more than that. If you live in the United States, your state politics, your province politics in Canada probably affects you more than the national level. I think the only problem right now is, we have here in the United States, we have a government that wants to insert itself into every little thing. And it's like, no, you can stay out of my business. You don't have to. Yeah, I have the same problem. I have a condenser microphone too, and that's why sometimes you guys pick up the dogs barking, and it's not always a good thing. But yes, it helps me because I'm a soft speaker and it picks up things. But yeah, sometimes it's not so good. Yeah, and that's the thing. You can now get pretty decent stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just talking about the cyberpunk timeline, Paul. Like, I'm trying to think. It's 2025. So we're actually past the bombing of the plaza the first time where Johnny Silverhand did it and company. So we're actually 10 years past that. So, so wasn't that 2013 or something? I can't remember. But yeah, so we're past that. We'd be past that, and cybernetic implants would be a thing, and they'd be starting to improve, and I think that's the thing. I'm going to stay with atheism. I also stay with deconversion because despite the popular notion that there's a revival going on in this country among American young people, I think it's overrated. I don't think like young men are necessarily going to church because they believe the stuff. There's a lot of people that go to church that don't believe the stuff. Okay. I think it's more of they feel more comfortable there because somebody's actually talking positively about men. Okay, like when you look at the election results, like that was one demographic that were like, okay, young men are suddenly voting conservative. Well, why? I think they feel more comfortable there. Like they're not getting yelled at for having a penis, so by certain TikTok YouTubers and all those people, and so they found some place to be comfortable. It's not so much that they believe the jive or whatever. It's they don't want to be yelled at for just existing. So it's there is kind of that. The SJWs did not do the left any favors and still aren't. So it's like you gotta, if you're genuinely fighting for equality, be equal. And I think, and this is a perception problem. It's not an actuality problem. Like actually, maybe feminism is doing a pretty good job at presenting itself, but as I've said before, politics is about perception, not reality. And it's a hard thing for people to grasp. How are you being perceived, not how are you actually being? And that's a hard time. So, and yep, good to see you, Dragon Rider. Not every atheist is presenting a style. I found that secular human atheism, or for me, communist atheism. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's what atheism can be coupled with anything, Bren. So yeah, finding your niche can be fine. So yeah, he does have his flaws. Everybody has their flaws. Yeah, we had a good stream with Earl on her birthday. I learned more about women's underwear than I ever have in my entire life, but it was a great stream. People were asking me if I was okay, and I'm like, I'm in a room with three beautiful women who are talking about underwear. What could be better for a man? So it was a great moment. I don't know how do you become a tribe of anti-tribalism? The problem is, Martin, I'm thinking tribalism is so inherent to humans. Like we have this natural propensity to try to find our tribe. Okay. And I really wish there was like a tribe known as humanity that we could all just join, but yeah, it's an uphill battle for a lot of us. Yeah, they are attracted to the misogyny. I agree with that. But they also like I've asked the question, why would a man go left when what he sees on TikTok is you're an evil bastard just because you exist? So yes. But yeah. But I agree with that too. There are some people that are definitely attracted to the misogyny of the church because they can behave badly, and I've said that to some of them. Like it's not just that; there's a whole multitude of reasons why young men have turned right, but it's like it's not as big as I thought it was. It was enough to win an election, but I don't know if they can hold it. So I did fine on my own. Yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Oh yeah, but it was a fun moment. Like you got to understand. Like I've been in that situation many times in my life. Like I remember the first time I ever experienced this, Rimmer, was in high school. I was in psychology class. I was a junior at that time, and by that time I was like, I had my routine. I came in early for the class, and I sat in the back in the middle where I usually sat, so I could read and do my homework when the teacher was being boring. I'd do my homework in other classes, things like that. And it just so happened that particular semester, like I'm in the back, and there was a girl here, a girl here, a girl here, a girl here, and a girl here. I was surrounded by girls, and they were all friends. and they would forget I was there. Okay, like I'd be reading a book or something, and they would just talk about anything. I learned more about what women think in that class. They could have called it women's psychology. I learned more about all the stuff in that class uh, than any other time in my life, probably. And what happened on Saturday was pretty close to that. So it was good, though. Uh, so it was kind of reminiscent of that. But like those girls would talk about anything. They would talk about what they thought about certain guys, and I'm like, man, I thought that guy was pretty popular, but not with the girls. He wasn't. So they were like, no, he's an asshole. Like, he doesn't know how to handle women. Oh, okay. Learning. I'm just going to sit here and learn and keep my mouth shut. Probably the smartest thing I ever did. Tribalism is very comfortable, Ren. Like, there's good psychological studies on this. Like, being with a group of your people always feels more comfortable. Like, when you're with people that are like you, you're much more comfortable than people that aren't when you're people without. So, but yeah. Well, yeah, that kind of puts you into an interesting situation, doesn't it? There's no left and right is limiting it. Yeah, there is an argument in poli-sci that the idea of left and right is kind of a false paradigm, really. Poli-sci kind of argues that what you have is people that like to preserve the way things are because they feel like they're protecting something that they built. Like, there's a reason why, quote unquote, older people go more conservative. It's like because they're trying to protect something that they have built and they want to keep. Okay, and so they support candidates that will try to keep that. There's a reason why in my country, in the elderly, people keep voting for candidates that want to protect Social Security, and anybody who goes after Social Security, those elderly voters go after them really hard. Like, there's a reason why they built that. They've paid into it and they want their money. Okay. And so they're trying to preserve it. And then you have the younger generation going, yeah, but this is going to cost us an arm and a leg, and we're going to end up, owing, the future generations are going to end up owing in this country for the next 50, 60 years just to pay for that. And so, yeah, it's kind of things. It's kind of one of those things. Do I have it backwards? What do I have backwards? But yeah, it depends on what we were talking about backwards. Like, this is kind of my point. Like, there's some people that want to preserve things, they want to do things, and there's other people that want to be innovative. And is that liberal or is it conservative? Is conservatism innovative at times? Sometimes. I don't know. The left right paradigm is kind of like, there's an old they used to see them all the time, the 4 boxes of where you sit politically, the old diagram that used to be. Yeah, but notice what Republicans do when they campaign about Social Security. You need to go to the town halls sometimes there, Earl. I know, but I look at these Republicans always talk about preserving Social Security for future generations. They will never attack Social Security in public. Like, when they vote, yeah, absolutely. Okay. But remember, it's the perception. Like, conservatives are like, we're gonna hold on to stuff sometimes. And then Democrats say, well, we want to hold on to Social Security, true. But conservatives will say we got to figure out a better way to do it. And then they use that as an excuse to muck with it. But publicly, you will very rarely see a Republican talk about getting rid of Social Security. There are very few. When they talk to their constituents, they don't talk that way. Okay. You have to be really two-faced and double-tongued to be a politician. Oh, I would say I would agree with that. A lot of it depends on what you mean by self-interest. Like for me, um, I don't know that entitlements are necessarily good for my self-interest. Like they sound good on paper, but Social Security, if I took the same money and invested it that I pay into Social Security, that's the problem though. People always talk that way, but they never actually do it. Like the self-discipline problem is a problem. But yes, but if you go to a town hall meeting and some old biddy corners a Republican about, so, oh, we're not getting rid of Social Security. We're not going to do that. They will absolutely cave every time. But they always want to refund it. They want to redesign it. I've never really hear them say anything about getting rid of it because they know that the old vote would disappear. And then of course you have people that, you're right, there's people that just keep voting Republican or Democrat because they think it's their best interest. But everybody votes their self-interest to an extent, but or what they seem to be. But once again, it's perception, not reality. Oh yeah, it's you're onto something there. It's easier to lie to people. Like I remember we had a politician like come nearby, like at Ferris, which is south here, like 12 miles, and he was a Republican, and oh, we're not going to do anything to Social Security. I mean, everybody report, oh yeah, they're not going to touch Social Security, and then the same guy went and touched Social Security. So it's the game is being played on a multitude of levels. Um, I don't know who's threatening to get rid of it. I've seen a lot of Republicans talk about redesigning it, like there was a movement to add um, like self-investment, like you could take part of your Social Security and invest it in stocks and stuff like that. There's been movements about refunding it or redesigning it, restructuring it. Um, I think the moment though you say we're going to get rid of it and it starts to get serious that Social Security is going to literally disappear, I've never seen that as legislation. So, I mean, I would be, there are probably certainly a few Republicans that say that, but that's not representative of all of them. Like a lot of Republicans stay very silent about Social Security because they know most of their constituency is older people. So, I mean, the boomers kind of vote Republican these days. So, yeah, privatize. I've heard a lot of privatizing Social Security. That's not getting rid of it. Okay, that's just changing it. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you have to listen very, very carefully about what they're saying because most of the time Republicans don't put it in language of we're getting rid of Social Security. They know that would be a death sentence politically. Instead, they talk more about let's modify it, let's change it, how it's funded, let's do that or that. But I don't necessarily see them talk about getting rid of it. There are a few. We just need to get rid of it. You know, it hasn't really helped. It's a pyramid scheme, which technically it is. It's one of those things where you hear people talk a certain way in public, but you got to watch how they vote and what legislation they support because those are two very different things. The outward perception part of being a politician is to talk to everybody like you're on their side, and that's both sides, by the way. I don't play teams, so okay, this is one of those issues in America where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Part of the problem may be that we only have one or two teams to join. It's like going to a supermarket and you've got here's the red basket you can buy or the blue basket you can buy, and it's like I want the yellow one. I want to mix and match stuff. It's just boot off the Medicaid and Medicare. They're very clear that. Oh yeah, Medicaid and Medicare. Yeah, they're very clear about trying to get rid of that. Um, but yeah, they're just when they boot some people off. But notice they just reduced the funding. They didn't get rid of Medicare or Medicaid. They just kind of scaled it back, so less people are getting it. Some people are still getting Medicare and Medicaid. Like it's still happening. The ones that didn't think that they were going to get cut, that's the surprise Pikachu face. Yes, I agree with that. It's just when you listen, like the Democrats say, oh, they're cutting it. They're going to get rid of it completely. And it's like, no, they're backing off on the funding. That means, I mean, we're still spending billions of dollars on Medicare and Medicaid. Somebody's getting that money. Okay. It's just less people are getting that money. Okay. And some of the subsidies that used to help people get lower, like premiums and stuff, they're gone. And so a lot of people are getting that surprise Pikachu face when they get, so, and they didn't think that they would qualify for that. Like I'm fine. No, yeah, you're the ones that got cut. And all the while, though, the Republicans can say, well, we didn't cut Social Security. We didn't cut Medicaid or Medicare. We just reduced the funding. And totally different. We didn't get rid of it. We just changed it. And that's usually what happens. Like I don't see them, if they're going to kill Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, they're going to have to do it slowly. It would have to be like something they'd have to do over time, where they keep defunding it a little bit more every year. It's more of a death of 1,000 cuts that they're going for, because they know if they try to completely get rid of it, they'd lose the next election big time. So, they would lose the senior vote. And they can't have that. The Republicans rely on the senior vote these days. So, yep, exactly. Well, yeah, they give tax breaks to billionaires. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to billionaires most of the time. They talk shit and they don't know what they're talking about outside of making money. Yeah, it's not much of a context. But politics lives in this generality. Oh, we only cut it a few $billions. Like when you consider the size of the U.S. budget, it's like, I get what they're saying, but you got to watch politicians because they talk this way. They will sit there and, oh, we're not going to get rid of it. They don't tell you that they're going to start to defund it. Like I personally think that if Republicans get their way, they will slowly defund these programs to the point they don't exist anymore. That's what would happen. And what happens then in this country is we'll elect Democrats, and Democrats will take the funding levels back up. And we play this shell game of going back and forth until, it's always a problem, because you can't have politics and voting without a problem. So, oh yeah. But now, I'm not sure they're going to do well in the midterms. I don't think that, and it's not because the Democrats are so great, Earl. Let's be honest. They still don't have a vision. They still don't have a plan. I'm still wondering what the hell they're doing. But right now they're the only alternative, and so they win by default. Like I think there's a lot of, what I'm reading, and I'm reading this from conservative press too, is like there's a civil war going on in the Republican Party. Like they're trying to keep it on the down low, but it's not working so well. Okay. Because there's a lot of people that are disappointed, like by the Epstein files. There's other people that are like, well, but we're doing good things for the economy, quote unquote. And what you have is a battle. Like this is what happens when one party gets complete control of everything every time, is the sub-party discussion becomes a problem. Like you can't hold it together. Yeah. That's kind of the thing. I know you're not. I'm just speaking like hypothetically, like Democrats, they have a problem. They have a perception problem right now. They're perceived to be a certain thing, and the Republicans have been very successful at perceiving them that way. So, yeah. 340 million. Yeah, there you go. I'm not one to pretend that both sides aren't exact. I keep trying to explain it. It's like being asked to choose between a piss and poos. Yeah. It's like which one's less shitty. Okay. And that's the problem with the two-party system. That's just something inherent. And that they play the game to keep it that way, because otherwise they wouldn't have terms like minority leader or majority leader or things like that. They just, this game keep getting played. And So it's all a question sometimes of who's less shitty sometimes, but oh, I have no argument about that. Like, it's not like anybody didn't know who Trump was. Okay. I mean, the fact that Trump was attracted to young women should have been well known to a lot of people a long time ago. And that's why I'm not buying the Epstein story. He was never there and I didn't participate in that. I'm like, yeah, okay, bro. Whatever. Maybe there's no evidence of it, and that's what you're relying on, but okay, whatever. But yeah, it's a cover up. But yeah, it's like people in politics don't kill things by just straight up voting them out of existence. Like notice what's happening with like the Department of Education. The Republicans said they were going to get rid of that. It's still there. Why is it still there? Because they're still doing things Republican style through the Department of Education. Okay, like everybody says these things like we're going to cut this and it gets really popular and then they get into the bureaucracy and it's like, how do you exactly get rid of this? Because then you lose control of this, and this without the department. Like, how do you make changes to education nationwide if you don't have a Department of Education? And all of a sudden they run into a problem. And so getting rid of something is always very interesting. I know. I listen. I am a philosophical, classical libertarian. Okay. Let me give you an example that somebody gave a long time ago. I think it was on Penn Jillette's Sunday School. He had who did he have? He had somebody on there that was saying, you know, when you're a Republican and the Democrats win, you're sad. When you're a Democrat and the Republicans win, you're sad. When you're a libertarian and anybody gets elected to a position of power that you don't think is worthy of it, you're sad. Okay, so we're supposedly a free country, but we want somebody to rule us. So it's like I kind of look at things like I am very distrustful of government, but that's me being Gen X and a libertarian. Like people in power always are, when I see somebody who's in power, I'm always very cautious about them. And like, why do you want that power? What are you doing there? Like, I'm very skeptical. Government keeps bearing me out. Like every time they try to fix something, it gets worse. So, I think everybody did. They ignored it. Like I'm sorry. Like if you watched Trump as long as I have, you know what he's about. Like they knew and they didn't care. That's like, this is one of my normal, like I'd say, well, people are ignorant or whatever. They weren't necessarily being malicious. I think everybody knew this time because they saw his previous term. A lot of people knew that stuff. I mean, the story of him going into the USA pageants and checking out the merchandise, his product, that was an old story. That's been around for 20 years, like ever since he bought the thing. Like he knew, people knew. He maybe, but I'm going to tell you, if people don't know how disgusting Trump is, they weren't paying attention, or they were deliberately not paying attention, because he has a long history of hanging around with people that are kind of sketchy. Okay. and people just forget. They only remember the last 6 months. And people are strangely in this country very forgiving, Earl, for all kinds of shit if it's your guy that you're going to put in power. Like Bill Clinton's problems, okay, if I go Democrat on you, were well known before he was elected president. Okay. Like, sorry, they were. But people elected him because that's what they wanted. They didn't want Bush again and they didn't want anything else. So that's what they did. But everybody knew who Bill was. He was a good time rock and roll guy. He was, being a philanderer was not something that was unknown. He was sleeping around a little bit and everybody knew it, including Hillary, but they put all that aside and went for it, and they got elected president twice. So, there you go. But yes, it's people know who these candidates are. If you're, the only way you can say that is you're either living in such a political bubble that you don't know those things, or you have a really bad memory. But what Trump was, what Clinton was, what all these politicians are is pretty well apparent if you're willing to go do a little digging these days. And we already had Trump's first term to know what he was like. Oh yeah, some of it's willful ignorance, or they know and they don't want to admit that they know. Like, I run into a lot of Republicans that they knew all that stuff about Trump, they just didn't care. Okay, like I've talked about this with work with people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I knew he did that with those girls in the pageant back those years ago, and I knew that he's been married 3 times, and every time it's been because of an affair. I don't care." Okay, I'm sorry. There's a lot of I don't care. Okay, which is going to really bite them in the ass if, like, smoking gun evidence comes out that Trump's a pedophile. Like, if that comes out and there's no way to get around it, it's going to be very interesting to see how these people dance. Okay. So, but there's a lot of, it's happening. It's already happening, Earl. It's not I'm just illustrating a point. It's not a gotcha thing. Okay. It's like people knew who Bill was. Okay. People knew who Trump was. They didn't care. Okay. Because the perception was this guy is going to do stuff for us and he's going to get it done and he's going to fix the problems. And every time nobody fixed the problems. So Ross Perot was interesting. Yes, he was. Bob Dole, he's another interesting one. You may see that. Like, I've been trying to keep track of what Russia's going on there, and I'm going to tell you, I'm concerned for you, Paul. I am. Okay, like, as difficult as my problems in the United States can be, when I look overseas, I'm like, oh my God. So, but good luck. Yeah, farmers love Bob Dole, and I didn't understand why. I never did. Like, guys watching this guy's voting record, has he really helped you? Yes, and this is the other perception. Like, a lot of them thought God wanted Trump. Like, this is where my atheism comes in. This is where the God belief didn't do us any favors. Okay, like, it doesn't matter how awful a person was in the past. When you have Christian forgiveness because of sins, if Jesus forgives them, then I have to too. You can vote for somebody like that and with a clean conscience. It's like everybody knows who people are. They are willfully ignorant. Like, and willful ignorance is very interesting, because Earl brings up a great point, because willful ignorance, like, but you pretend you don't know. Okay. Like, they don't want to look it up. No, they've looked it up. They just want to pretend they didn't see what they saw. Okay. Can I finish? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that bothered me. But they knew that, though, Earl. That's my point. Like, people know, like, the internet doesn't allow people to be ignorant of these things anymore. Like, it's like, if I pull up my news feed, it's right there in front of me. Okay. So it's like, these people voted for Trump again, fully knowing well what he did to farmers last time, knowing fully well what he said he was going to do to farms this time. And his tariffs, okay, immediately hurt the farmers, like, as soon as he started doing them, because now they have no place to export their extra food. Like, we make more food in a lot of ways than we eat. And before, when we had this problem, we were throwing it in landfills. Well, then we found a way to sell it to other countries. And these farmers have lost their markets. Like, the overseas market is cut off to them a lot, and they're losing their shirts. And they knew it was coming. They voted for the bastard anyway. And they did it twice. You're absolutely correct. Okay. It's like, but that's the same with everything else. Like, they willfully don't care. Okay. Because of way they have successfully propagandize what the Democratic Party and liberals are, and the liberals haven't been helpful. Okay, so yeah. Oh no, trust me, the algorithm keeps it from you, but I don't know if the algorithm necessarily does all of that. Like I get stuff from right and left in my feed. Okay. And maybe that's because I do that way. But my friends who are farmers are pissing and moaning right now, and they get information about farming and how the tariffs are affecting them. Even conservative, Democrat, doesn't matter. If you're a farmer and you're always looking up farming stuff, they're giving you farming business news and how this is going to affect you and that's going to affect you. So they couldn't have not known. Okay. They couldn't have not known. That's because I'm not on the right or left. Yeah. Well, I get that the algorithm feeds the thing, but the stories like when Trump did certain things in the past, that wasn't algorithmed. That was like front page actual newspaper stuff sometimes back in the day. But yeah, I just don't think that they were that as ignorant as everybody thinks they are. I think people, if they're ignorant sometimes, it's because they see something on their news feed and they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to talk about it. So and I'm not an idiot. Well, thanks for that. It's getting to wonder. I could be an idiot, but no, I talk to people at work. They know. See, that's you have to know something in order to be willfully ignorant. Like you have to know something. So you have to purposely like avoid the stories, because, you know, if I went on to, I probably should go on like another search engine and just pretend to be a rightist, and then go into another one, pretend to be a leftist and see what I get. But yeah, but people know some, I mean, there was no disguising it from the Christian right that Trump had been divorced 3 times and remarried 4 times, you know, and 25 years ago, that would have been a death sentence. He would have never gotten the Republican nomination with how powerful the religious right was. Like back in the 80s and 90s, never happened. Okay. People know that today. They knew that the first time they voted for him, and they still voted for him. They knew it and they didn't care. So being a majority, I don't know. Well, see, I don't know, 23%. That's actually, see, the thing I know about my history, though, Rimmer, is like when Abraham Lincoln got elected, he did not get elected by a majority of Americans. That's an interesting historical fact. There were 4 political parties in the game that year. There wasn't just 2, there were 4. There was the Democrats and the Whigs were the old time parties. And you had the Republicans and some other party that were upstarts that were like, and it was because of the slavery question. And so you had 4 parties running, and I think Abraham Lincoln only got like 35% of the vote, but it was enough for him to take over the Electoral College, and then the others caved in on, and he got elected. So it was, the thing about it is when you have a democracy and you can get like more than 2, 3, 4, 5 parties, you're never going to get a 51%. So, you know, it's like, it's not going to happen. So, oh, they did know that. You got to remember, these stories were Trump was always up in the news. Like when something happened to him in the news, yeah, they knew he cheated. Like, you know, when it doesn't take too much to realize, like, after you see a guy get married, he gets divorced, and then 3 months later he's getting married to somebody else, or, you know, it's like they knew he cheated. We knew he cheated back then. That's why a lot of people were against him when he first started running as a Republican. Like, he's like, he cheats. They seem to have forgot that over time. Well, there actually is like 2 right now that could win the election if people just voted for them. The Libertarian Party and the Green Party have been around for years, but they just never get anybody to vote for them. but they can win. They have all their delegates lined up just like everybody else for the electoral college. It'd be nice to get 2 more. Like have 6 of them, but we always stay with red or blue. It's always fun, but that's part of the problem. Like you can't be a moderate centrist in this in America anymore without somebody yelling at you. Why are you voting for them? Why are you voting for the enemy? Like that little meme of being pushed one way or the other. Yeah, it's a lot of truth to that. So I have not seen that one. No. I'm politically minded, but I don't always talk about politics that much. I don't think I've made it a secret that I'm still very much skeptical of anybody who gets elected. So you can. It's worked a couple of times, like the aforementioned Abraham Lincoln election. There were 4 parties that were viable. But after that election, one of those parties disappeared. The Whig Party disappeared off the planet after that. And they had been a major party since the country's inception up to that moment. And they disappeared. And the other party that tried to challenge things disappeared too. The Democrats survived and the Republicans survived after that. And it's been that way ever since. So I think you're assuming our news sources. I'm sorry. I grew up with Trump. Okay. When it was announced in the news and on the radio and on television that he was getting a divorce from his first wife, I'm not sure, was the internet around then? That's a long time ago, but it wasn't as popular. But everybody knew, like, oh, he probably cheated. Like there was no gossip works. Okay, gossip travels faster than the speed of light, Earl. Okay, and it was pretty much in all the gossip rags that, this is where the Inquirer actually sometimes had news. But yeah, it was well known that he cheated on his first wife. It was well known. Like it may be in the past and not reported later, but it was reported then. Like they didn't censor the news as much as everybody thinks they did. The tabloids still needed something to do. And the yellow journalism isn't always wrong. So, but yeah, but it was reported that he cheated. And it was reported that he cheated when he got his second wife. And it was reported that he cheated. Oh, I know. I don't represent Republicans. I'm just telling you what the news was back then, Republican or Democrat. People knew that he cheated. That it's easy, it's archivable, it's lookable up. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying that people knew. People know this stuff. They just choose to ignore it. When it comes to politics, we're incredibly forgiving people. When we just want our guy to do what we want him to do, and it never happens. Right now? Oh, I don't know. I've often wanted, like Rationality Rules, like does the ground news thing, and I've often wondered what ground news would do for me differently that I'm not seeing, because I would love to have like my blind spot identified. I would, but yeah, it's like, yeah, because this is what Ron is pointing out is absolutely true. They kept calling him King Cyrus. Now, what do they mean by that? Oh, we know that he's got all these problems. We don't care. He's still our King Cyrus. Okay, like I listen to religious speak. Okay, I'm a former pastor. When I listen to church people talk about Donald Trump, they full know well that he cheated, that he's got a problem with girls, he's got a lying problem. They know all that. They absolutely do know all that. They do not care because he's their King Cyrus. He's going to lead them to the promised land and getting them back to being Israel and making America great again. And they don't give a damn. Okay, they don't care. They know all that stuff. Yeah, it's like we don't have time to watch more, so we just watch one source, and it's usually one that does our cognitive biases pretty well. That's something I learned in school. Well, but you're saying everybody doesn't know it on the right if Fox News doesn't report it. I'm not even sure that's accurate, Earl. I think they know. Like I'm one of those guys that'll love to claim ignorance for the Republicans, but I've listened to too many Christians over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They know, and they've always known. So yeah, but they do not care. They know, they just don't care. Whether they get it from Fox News or not is irrelevant. They already knew. Like old timers, like if you're Generation X or a boomer, you know Trump's history. Like it isn't hard to figure it out. You've watched a lot of it. Okay. You know what he was about. And to sit there and claim, oh, I didn't know all this stuff. Yeah, that's just not true. They know, they just don't care. Okay. So it's like whether they have Fox News as their source or not, they've watched this guy for a long time. And they know they didn't care. It's like the farmers. They knew what Trump was going to do to their farm. Okay, but they didn't care. Other issues mattered more than the fact that they were about to sell their farm in 6 months. So I'm not giving them grace. I'm actually making them out to be worse, Earl. I'm telling you that the way the Republicans are worse is they know, but they don't care and they keep supporting the guy. And that's particularly true of Christians. Like Christians keep supporting Trump, and he is not a guy that's going to make them look good. No, I'm making them worse. Ignorance. If somebody's ignorant, like, well, I'm sorry that you're ignorant. Okay. I can live with ignorance, but these people aren't ignorant. There's a lot of them that absolutely know what Trump's about, and they still voted for him. They've watched him for a long time. I'm not giving them grace. I'm actually making it worse for them. Okay. The tribe isn't a real person, like it. But yeah, I'm not giving the Republicans any grace. I'm certainly not giving Christian Republicans any grace because they know what Trump's about, and they have compromised their ethics to vote for him, and they know it. Okay, okay. So yeah, I think that's kind of the truth with Mormons. Oh, I know you're dealing with a massive amount of ignorance. I'm not. But that's not all Republicans. There's too many Republicans to have that be true of all Republicans. Like the people, like the guys sitting next, yeah, it's willful ignorance, and that's just it. That's not ignorant. That's willfully turning a blind eye to what you know. Like that's willfully forgetting. It's not willful ignorance, it's willful forgetting. Okay. And that's a big difference to me. Oh, I'm sorry, they're knowing exactly. Okay. Like, in my opinion, there's a lot of Christians that are knowingly supporting evil and they're justifying it. Okay. So I'm being mean, being mean spirited to these Republicans because I do think that they know what Trump's about and they don't care. That's not willful ignorance. That's willfully, forgetting. That's trying to desperately be ignorant. Like they know, but they don't care. Now, that, on the other hand, you might be right about, but I'm talking about the large trunk of Republicans that voted for Trump were not willfully ignorant or ignorant anyway. Now, Gen Z, now you could make a case that they didn't know. Okay. It's hard for somebody young, like, but then again, they could have looked it up. Okay. And given what I also know, like, I was watching Rationality Rules, and he literally, there was one guy on Jubilee that literally is like a fascist white person, and people had sympathy for the guy. So it's like, it's not just ignorance. It's like certain viewpoints are now tolerated. So it's like when 20 years ago, they wouldn't have been. So yeah, but Gen Z, I think you could say are ignorant of a lot of things with Trump, but I don't think anybody millennial or beyond can claim that necessarily. If you are, then you were sticking your head into the sand as to what Trump was doing all his life. The boomers certainly can't claim ignorance of what Trump's about, and Gen X certainly can't either. Okay, we all know what he's about. Okay, when he wanted to run for president, that's when I was like, what? So, give me control of your party and I'll teach you how to win. Yep. And that's at that point, it's like, well, we'll have to forget this, 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 and this. But yeah, sure. Well, they just call mine. Listen, I get the ignorance part for younger generations, but I don't think older generations can claim ignorance of who Trump was because they knew who he was. So they've watched him decades. They watched his friendship live with Epstein. Okay, like they watched his stuff and to sit there and say, "Oh, I didn't know." Yeah, you knew, and you still know. But I have listened to Christians talk about Trump. They know he's a philanderer. They know he's been married and divorced and all these number of times, which would have been death sentence for any Republican nomination in the 90s. They know that he's shady on his business deals. They do not care. Okay, it's not willful ignorance, it's willful forgetting. The younger generations like Gen Zs, yeah, I can see that. I can see younger people being, because they haven't watched Trump their whole lives. Like I have. Okay. I remember Trump when I was a young man, so it's like and his, that he was kind of off in a lot of areas. We all well knew that stuff. It's been so long, people don't remember it. So, oh yeah, definitely knew of his bankruptcies. We knew of his business failures. Definitely knew of his marriage failures, and in Christendom, like I said, in the 80s and 90s, he would not have been a viable candidate. That's how much the Republican Party has changed. Like back in the day and 80s and 90s, he would not have been a viable candidate. Yeah, older generations would have known because he was a Democrat. So told them to file it. Yeah, and they bought it. That's what I'm talking about. I don't think you realize how big Trump has been a part of things. He appeared in Home Alone. Okay, like Trump has been a big part of things for a lot of my life. Like he has been somebody that people look to as business. He's been in the news. He's been in movies. Trump has a brand that goes back quite a ways. Okay, like so older people I don't think they can claim as much ignorance as they would like to. So, but no, I don't think I'm giving him credit. I'm not giving him credit at all. I'm basically saying you knew and you still did it anyway. Like that's my thing with the older generations. You're what you said here is the average person didn't pay attention to Trump at all until he ran for office. That's not true. There's a lot of people that paid attention to Trump for a long time. Okay, so it's a sense of history of who Trump was. People knew. They absolutely knew. And I'm actually making a worse accusation on these people. I'm like, you knew and you did it anyway. It's like when you're in people's thoughts, you know what people are, you make the news, you make the tabloids all the time. You're there. Okay. Trump has had a level of fame that he has enjoyed, probably since he was 30 years old. It's been 50 years that he's been famous. My dad talked about Trump and he's been dead for 30 years. Like he has been on people's minds more than once. It's been a long road with Donald Trump. I think it's what some people don't realize is that you can't stick your head in the sand about who Trump is as much as people think he can. He has a long history that if you're just paying attention while you were growing up, but yeah, I think it's willful ignorance. It could be my autism talking, but I've talked to other people that are Christians and Republicans. They remember Trump. Okay, they used to talk shit about Trump because he was a Democrat. Like why he used to be the Soros in some ways. Like they used to talk about Trump about he was supporting the Clintons and all this other crap, and he's a bad person for doing that. And he's been in the public consciousness for a long time. Like so. Oh yeah, he would do that all the time just to stay in the news. Like he was always putting himself in the news. This is not new. The idea that he's an attention whore is not a new concept. Okay, it's like, and he's been doing that for a long time. He had not in the past, but when he was still alive, he used to talk about, oh, that Trump guy is back in those Democrats. It's like he's been around for a while, and he's been in the news a lot longer than before he became president. So. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe that's me. But when I talk to people in the Christianity sphere, including my family, they know what Trump is. They're not ignorant. And I don't think that's as small as people think. Like, I think there's a lot more people that knew who Trump was and still voted for him anyway. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, and maybe it's a minority opinion, but I'll live with it. But yeah, they knew Trump was a philanderer. That was well established a long time ago. Yeah, Ivanica's childhood modeling. They did stories about that. Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten a camo as being a nobody. He got a camo part. He got other camo parts because he was news. They wanted him in there. So, yes, JL. Yeah, it was a good time. We were sorry you couldn't make it. JL, we had the discussion about octopi, octopuses, whatever you want to say it, whether they deserve citizenship this year. And we just let Earl make the decision because she's the Goblin Queen. So it's good. Yeah, I'd ask you to prove that. Because if he's in the tabloids in Kmart back in the day, he was in everybody's mind. Trump has been a popular figure. I know this is hard for a lot of you to believe, but he's been a popular figure for probably 50 years. Back in the day, he was the young, new billionaire, millionaire, billionaire. And he's been doing this shtick of staying in the public eye for a long time. Oh, he was definitely tabloid fodder. Like he was always, and if you're in the tabloids, you're in the average person's living room back in the day. Like I can't count the number of households I used to go into where people had the Inquirer or something on their table. So I'm sorry. He's been a relentless self-promoter for 50 years. Okay. No, popular doesn't mean, I'm just saying he is popular enough that everybody kind of knew his business. Okay. And people have always known Trump's business for a long time. People just didn't suddenly, oh, who's this guy Trump running for office back in 2015? That didn't happen. He had built a long repertoire of being in the public consciousness. That's kind of how he won the first time. Like, he had that ethos of being a popularizer and a relentless self-promoter that he'd been doing for decades. He just applied it to the presidency. So no, I mean, it doesn't mean he was respected, but it does mean that he was popular. Yeah, he plastered his name, like, this putting it on the Kennedy Center, that's just the latest thing that Trump's put his name on. His name's everywhere. Yes. Yeah. If you list him as famous people in the 80s, he's very famous. Okay, so he's always been famous. Okay, like this notion that suddenly popped out of nowhere in the middle of the 2010s. No, he'd been around a long time. Who are you? Are you there? And he got the TV show because he had the tabloid. He got there. This is a relentless building up, Earl. Like he has always been a relentless self-promoter his entire life. He's always been in the public eye. There's a reason why, he had the TV show, but that was just the latest escapade of many, many escapades that kept him in the public eye. Okay, like his stuff was well known all through his life. He is deliberately has done that. He wanted people to be talking about it. Do you honestly think he cared that people said he had an affair? No, that was a flex back then. Okay. A lot of men thought that was a flex. So it's like he has always been in the public eye. You can get Trump in the news all the way back to the 80s, probably. But he has always been a relentless self-promoter, always. And the TV show was just the latest thing that he did. He had done stuff before that and stuff before that and stuff before that. He's always been in the public eye. Like nobody can claim ignorance about what a lot of Trump is. So, yeah, well. Oh, he never wanted to be widely known. That's just the narcissist in him. Like he's always got to be more widely known than he is. But yes. Or they're pretending not to know. That's also a possibility. They're pretending not to know anything about him. Okay, like these people could be willfully suppressing what they know because they don't want to face that fact. That's a very well-known psychological phenomenon. Like people don't claim they don't know something because it's unpleasant. Okay, but yes, but a lot of people absolutely, you had to be hiding under a rock not to know what Trump was because he's always been a relentless self-promoter. So they aren't pretending. Okay, well, if that's your assessment, that's fine. But I don't know. I don't know how you could do that because I've watched Trump for a long time. He's always been a popular guy in certain ways, and he's always been there. Like he's his exploits, his affairs in front of everybody. Like it wasn't a secret. The reason you know this information is because it wasn't a secret. So, oh, they aren't me. Okay. Well, there's a lot of people that maybe aren't me that are also me, though. Maybe they aren't me. But it's okay. I mean, I don't know. I think his days are numbered. Either his health issues are going to get him or his own party is going to crucify him at some point because he doesn't know how to talk. So, yeah, there's projection to consider. Like maybe they just want to project the successful parts and not deal with the other. But he's always been a relentless self-promoter. He's put his name on everything for 5 decades. So yeah. You don't even think Trump knew anything about Trump? That's possible. But yeah, I get what Earl's saying. Like she's running into people that don't know a damn thing about Trump or didn't. And it's like, do they or don't they? Because I know a lot of people that will use ignorance as a shield too. So there's a lot of possibility. I think there's more than a possibility of, but I don't think boomers have the excuse of not knowing much about Trump. They've watched this guy for 50 years. And he's always been a relentless self-promoter. He's always been tried to get himself in the public eye. Okay, like he's always, he's been around for a long time. So it's a real interesting quandary that we find ourselves in. But I think saying all people were ignorant, no. All people knew something, nah. But there's definitely people that knew that voted in for him. There's definitely people that didn't know that voted for him. But I can see the younger generation being kind of baffled because he had the one TV show and then suddenly he's presidential material. But there's a several decades long history of him building himself up to that point. Okay. And continuing to build himself up to that point that has been around for decades. So like you can look up stories of Trump going back to the 80s. So, and they're nationally known syndicated stories. So, is my autism talking? No, my autism is being blamed. Yeah, I agree with that. Like his political brand is going to be around for a while. That's going to happen. It's just not unifying his culture, and that goes to cultural warfare things. So yeah, those that didn't know, they instantly suspected he was discussing Karpatsk, but not known before. Yeah. I mean, I can see the young people doing that, but I don't think old people have that excuse. And I'm an old person. Like if somebody says, I didn't know that about Trump, well, I'm like, where were you hiding? Okay. You know, the U.S. pageant thing was a well publicized national story back in the day that he had gone into the dressing rooms. Like, what kind of creep does that? And the Republicans were all over that, by the way. What kind of creep Trump was to do that. And then all of a sudden it's suppressed information. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't believe anything I read anywhere. So, thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. This is why I hate talking politics. Yeah, that 51st state thing is going to last a while too. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, boomers lost a lot of credibility when they started believing everything on Facebook. I don't know. I don't believe anything, especially revolving the government. And that's how I grew up. Like when I was a young man, like all the scandals were coming out of the government. And so it's like, you start to distrust it. So I earned my paycheck tonight. Well, okay. Listen, I have my own political views, but I think it's much more complicated why the average Trump voter voted for Trump. But at the same time, there's certain people that I don't think can claim ignorance. Like Christians, older Christians knew what Trump was. That's why they never considered him before as even a viable presidential candidate. Like the religious right never liked him. Okay. Until the Republican Party changed enough and the religious right lost a lot of their power. They still have a lot of power, but they don't have near as much as they had in the 80s and 90s. Holy shit. And so they can't, the Christian cannot claim ignorance about Trump's multiple marriages. That's a matter of public record. And that's something that they wouldn't have supported. Fundamentalist Christians have this thing about marriage for life, and it kills them. But yeah. Fake gossip. Thanks, Martin. But yeah, I get it. I mean, I get that this is a debatable point, and I'm willing to agree to disagree on this one, but I'm not so convinced that people were ignorant when they went into the ballot box of all the Trump's idiosyncrasies, because he's been around in the public eye for a long time. So yeah, he was floating his name for president a long time before 2016. Like, he was doing that a long time. Like it's you can go back to him shucking for politics. Oh, it's lowering the bar. They suited their needs. They lowered their bar. The younger voters, I think Earl makes a good point that they may not have known his past because they're not associated with it. But I think there's a lot of willful forgetting by older voters of what Trump was, but those stories made national news. Like him going into the U.S. Miss USA pageant locker room to check out the goods. That was a well-known true story, nationally publicized. So if you were alive back then, you would have known that. Okay. Or unless you just didn't pay attention at all, like you'd have to be like willfully ignorant of all news, but it was like a national news story for 2 weeks. So at least maybe a whole month. And so it wasn't something that was just going to go away from his record. He's since tried to justify it, and he tried to justify it then too. So I don't know how low it'll get there. I guess we'll find out. See, this is why I don't talk politics much, because I like having friends. I like having the few friends that I have. It's like, and this issue always seems like Like it gets everybody emotionally charged and tribal, and I just, I try to avoid it. So he did it. Like when he bought the Miss USA pageant, he walked into the dressing room because I had to see, this is the product that I'm presenting. I want to see what the product is. That was his justification. I'm like, dude, yeah. And then he has the nerve to call somebody else a Republicans are less intelligent. Hmm. Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, I agree with that. They Republicans tend to be religious, and religious people don't like education. They don't like learning things, so they want to stay with their Bible and stay with their stuff. You and me are on the same page there. I'm just telling you that the older Republicans knew who Trump was about. He was in the stories. He was in front of their faces a lot more than you think he was. Okay, he was there. So. Oh, it's worth a chance. Oh man, I could think of about 100 different people that were better candidates. So I think they would have. Listen, the older crowd likes to pretend that they forget things and that shit. That's bullshit. I've been doing that now since I turned 50. Like, I don't remember. I'm lying. Okay. It was inconvenient. I didn't want to do it. So I'm going to pretend to forget. And I think that's what a lot of older voters are doing with Trump. Like, I knew all that stuff, but I wanted to forget it because I liked what he wanted to do with the country. And so they forgot all that stuff. Forgot. So, yeah. And you got Biden falling off his bike, and you got Biden not being, and I, as a strategist, I would have told him, you know what, if Biden had resigned his presidency, like say a month after his 2-year mark, and then let Kamala Harris build a resume as being president, they might have had a better chance. Okay. That's one strategy, but I think he should have. There was some strategic blunders on the Democrat side too. So they seem to get off message too on a couple occasions. Yeah, they tend to be that way too. Yeah, it's probably, but that's the thing with politicians. It's not about who's better at it. Like we have a saying, because I've run for office, and let's see, I won once and I lost twice. And I was appointed to the school board once, and then I got voted by a school board to be on another school board. So I've won technically 2 elections and lost 2. So, but it's a popularity contest, and you don't run people that can't win the popularity. So that's the hardest part about democracy, is it really comes down to a popularity contest. So, oh wow, it's 7:30. I got to get going. So I got a job to get to. So, folks, thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate everybody. I was there, Earl. He was in their faces a lot. Like I said, Trump has always been a relentless self-promoter, and you're also dealing with different times where something that is considered racist and bigoted today might not have been given those terms 20 years ago. So you got to understand the evolution of morality in the United States. So I was there. I know I'm not them. I get that, but they're not me either. Okay. He was very relentless all his life. He's always been that way. He doesn't like it when people aren't talking about him, and he's been that way since he was 25, I think. So there you go. All right, folks, I do have to run. I do have to get ready for work and all that jazz. I want to thank everybody. It was a great discussion. Understand that I'm still friends with all of you, because like all things, politics is often a matter of opinion, and opinions are like noses. Everybody's got them, and they all smell. So there you go. But thanks to Martin. Thanks to the donated membership. I didn't even check who that got that. Yeah. Ryan Murphy got the gifted membership. So congratulations to Ryan. And thanks, Ron, for doing that. Appreciate all of you. Grumble. It's all right. Pray to Fangs. You'll get over it. Oh, we're not friends. I don't remember this. But yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate all of you. You guys are awesome. May Fangs nibble on all of your hearts. And may he purify all your vegetables with his pointy teeth from religious corruption. Make sure to leave a circumcised carrot on top of your stash, because maybe, just maybe, Fangs will take the carrot and not the stash. It's kind of a 50-50 coin toss for him at this point, because he likes stashes to give them away to other people. Nom and all that. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate it. Do have to get to work. As always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So you need to take all your time, your money, your opportunities, and give them to yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste it on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. Thanks everybody for stopping by, and I'll catch you all next time on the first stream of the new year on January 1st. I'll see you. I think I'm going to change my time to 7 o'clock for that one, because I want to try something. So I'll see you then. Have a good one. See you then.